check. Okay, so I just recently went on a vacation to New Zealand in this past winter break, right? And I mean, it was great. There was the summer wind, there were the views, and of course, the sheep. The thing is, we were there for 2 weeks. And my mom has planned for what we were going to do in basically every single hour of those 14 days. Remember, it was a road trip, so she had every hotel, every attraction, every trail, and how long every trail took, all compiled in this wondrous Excel sheet, which looked perfect at first glance because now we knew where we were supposed to be in the next 2 weeks. But that was the problem, because this meant where we were supposed to be in the next 2 weeks, and not necessarily where we wanted to be when we got to that part of the itinerary. Because due to a lot of uncontrollable factors, this plan didn't follow through. At one point, there was rain, so some attractions were just unavailable. Once we just spent too much time on a trail and we went way past schedule, and once we just slept in late and didn't feel like it. In the end, we only followed around 40% of the plan. And we were put under constant urge, constant stress to follow this plan through, to visit all of those attractions, and to make the most of our time there. And that's the problem, right? We fell into this trap that we made for ourselves. The plan was supposed to be a guide, a helping hand, so we could reference where we could go, but it ultimately turned into a cage because we were pressured to follow it every single day. In the end, things didn't go according to plan. Things went wrong. And you can input that scenario into whatever aspect of your life you try to control. I mean, maybe you're trying to get into the varsity team and you develop this super specific training plan and you follow that through, but then senior priority kicks in and you get cut from the team. Maybe you've always wanted to be working in this one field, this one industry, and you get into your dream job, but then you realize there are all these little things that your dream job has to deal with that you hate doing. Things went wrong. Moral of the story, no matter how much you try to control your life, things are going to end up differently, somehow, than how you originally expected it to be. I'm not trying to curse you or anything. This is simply the truth. And we can't change the truth, but we can try to live with it, right? And so let me introduce you to entropy, which offers you a completely new experience and perspective into all of this. Okay, entropy on its base level is a physics term, so there is a little science lesson hidden inside this talk, so get ready. Entropy is the measure of how dispersed energy is in a system, and thus, how disordered it is. Imagine liquid water evaporating into water vapor. These are liquid water molecules. All of them are connected, they move in the same pattern, they're organized. And as water evaporates, they slowly turn into whatever this is. This particle is going this way, that molecule is going that way. It's unorganized, it's unpredictable. And as you watch this orderly fashion turn into a piece of chaos, you can observe that things also went wrong for the water molecules. But did they really? Because even though they've lost their organized state, they turned into somewhat of a mess, I think you can agree with me that this is simply a process of nature. This is science. This is entropy. It's simply the truth. And we can't change the truth, but we can try to live with it, right? And so our ancestors, they didn't see this as lost or escaped liquid water that they could have drank. They saw opportunities. They realized that by evaporating water and trapping that heat, it could cook foods. And it is now a culinary method that so many different cultures use as their primary cooking method. We realized the concept of humidity and air in the water in the atmosphere, which allowed us to realize that in different regions, you can grow different crops. Plants that died in drier places flourished in more humid conditions, leading to the wide selection of plants and produce that we see around the world today. And so you can see things didn't really go wrong for the water molecules. They just went differently, which, yes, closed some doors and eliminated some possibilities, but opened other doors with other opportunities. We adapted from this change to from liquid water to water vapor, and made it useful for us. So why don't we do the same with our expectations? When something goes differently for you, don't think it as something wrong. Don't give up. Expect another opportunity to arise, maybe even a better one. True story, in 7th grade, I tried out for the touch rugby team, and I ultimately ended up in Division 2. I mean, I was devastated, but I adapted with the team, and we were able to pull off some incredible results. In the last tournament of the season, our Division 1 was playing against another team, and we later played that exact same team. Our Division 1 scored one singular point against them. I mean, fair to say, they were demolished. And we scored 2 points. I mean, we were still demolished, but the thing is, as the worst team, we had the better result. And guess what? I scored both of those points. After that tournament, the Division 1 coach asked for me to join them for one final tournament. And so you can see, things did originally go differently than I expected, but I didn't give up. I worked with what I had, and it ended up being, to this day, the best season I've ever had, and I wasn't even on the best squad. And because I was also playing with people who were willing to play and collaborate with me, I improved a lot in my touch rugby skills as well. So you can see, things going differently for you not only gives you alternative opportunities, but gives you valuable experiences to learn and grow. I know, all-encompassing control and stability over your life sounds so tempting, but being willing to embrace the unpredictedness can lead to change and growth in ourselves. Thinking back to the vacation I had, if we had 100% followed the plan, we would have learned almost nothing, because we would have learned everything on the trip from the travel guide when we were making the plan. Oh, maybe the travel guide said this restaurant had great food, this place has great views, or this church has an interesting history. But because we veered off course, we visited different restaurants and ate different foods, looked at different views, and visited different churches with different histories, rounding off our very own experience of New Zealand and not someone else's, with our own takeaways. For example, I learned to never go back to beaches again because the wind will blow you away, figuratively and literally. I mean, that was not on the travel guide. So the important thing is never treat entropy as your enemy, rather a friend. Finally, think about it this way. This is a garden, right? Every single plant, every single flower in this garden has its own role. It contributes to the same pattern. They're trimmed down every single day to maintain this picture-perfect standard. Unpredicted growth is not allowed here because if one flower grows, then it will look misplaced and it will mess up the whole pattern. However much smooth and organized this may look, it ultimately lacks the authenticity and the true essence of a wild meadow. Here, plants are allowed to grow in different ways. Flowers bloom into all different sorts of sizes, colors, shapes. It's messy, yes, but it is this beautiful disorder that makes the meadow appealing because it captures the true image of nature. It captures the unpredictedness. In a sense, the garden is us trying to control every single aspect of our lives, not letting any of that unpredicted grow through. And the meadow is us embracing that unpredictedness, living with it, living with that entropy that inevitably bleeds into our lives. Here, I encourage you to be that wild meadow. Take risks. Try out a new career opportunity, maybe. Let your kids do the things they want for once. Have a relationship without hiding your true personality. All of these decisions will bloom inside of you into new flowers of different sizes, different colors, different shapes. And no matter the outcome, you would have learned something and gained something from these experiences. And they will all decorate your life in a beautiful disorder.